Today I'm travelling on what Conde Nast Traveler Magazine calls Britain's most luxurious train and rates as one of the world's top 10 trains, the Northern Belle. I will be revealing what the eye-watering fare gets me, the unusual history of the train, its link to cruising, and some surprising quirks I never thought I'd see or experience on a train. I'm starting the journey at London Victoria Station. We arrived at 9:15 a.m, ready for our 9:30 departure just as a 7-carriage train was pulling in. So we're about to head off on an adventure today, which is on the Northern Belle, which is one of the very smart sort of Pullman train carriages and trains that take you on sort of exotic day trips around the UK. So we're heading off. It's a crazy expensive trip. Although the train looked pretty underwhelming pulling in, stepping on board into the Chatsworth carriage we've been allocated, the wow factor was huge. Big, comfy sofa-style seats, plush and opulent cutlery and crockery. The tables looked magnificent. Settling in, we were offered a mimosa, though we actually went for orange juice and sparkling water, and soon we were on our way, and we were surprised to be entertained by 2 musicians that roamed up and down the carriages during the trip. Breakfast followed not long after, served by the smartly uniformed host. While taking orders, all dietary quirks were sorted, like Mark, for example, being dairy sensitive. Breakfast started with a tri-melon starter with yogurt, soya yogurt for Mark. The main was a twice-baked cheddar cheese souffle with salmon delicious, while Mark had the vegetarian mushroom and bubble and squeak. And then they brought around the most enormous bread basket I have ever seen.
Could I have like Eccles
Breakfast done, I thought I'd go and explore some more of the train. First, a quick stop in one of the toilet facilities to check out something I'd read in one of the booklets about the revamp of the train that was on our table. Every carriage toilets have these stunning mosaic floors. They were actually created by the same company that restored the Orient Express. Toilet stop done, more of exploring the train. So there is a dress code on board where you're asked not to wear jeans or trainers, and most people like me, as you can see, do get dressed up. A lot of people ask me what sort of people come on this trip. Well, because it's kind of a costly trip, a lot of people come on here to celebrate. So in fact, when we got on board, the guards and the manager and stuff were asking people, you know, are you on here to celebrate anything? So there's people doing significant birthdays or anniversaries, that kind of stuff, or just, you know, splashing out and pampering, which is what we're actually doing. We're actually spending some of Mark's bonus this year to go on this rather nice trip. While other carriages I explored were full, just as the train was coming to a stop to wait for another train to pass, I found one, the Harlech, that was empty. A chance to sit down and tell you a little bit more about the train. Very much like cruise lines, trains used to be very glamorous, and the Northern Belle is designed to kind of bring back a lot of that glamour. And so they run these very exotic trips, day trips all around the UK. And the Belle trains are originally the trains that used to take people way back when on their summer vacations, you know, went to all the big tourist resorts. So for example, this train today, we're heading to Bournemouth. So it's actually doing the route of the old Bournemouth Belle, which ran between 1931 and 1967. We're actually not far from Southampton, so the train used to stop at Southampton so people could get off and go on their wonderful, you know, transatlantic voyages. The link between cruising and trains still seems a strong one, as not only am I hearing many people in our carriage talking about cruises they've been on, but 3 of the carriages on this trip were chartered by a cruise agency called Imagine Cruising in the UK. They sell cruise and rail packages. The train itself uses old Pullman coaches. They've all been turned into and revamped into these glamorous plush carriages for when the Northern Belle went into service in 2000. Let me tell you the names of the different carriages, because they're all named after stately homes. You've got the Alnwick, the Belvoir, the Chatsworth, the Glamis, the Harlech, the Duart and the Warwick. In fact, one of these, which is the most famous of all, actually used to be one of the royal carriages, and so that's one that's much sought after. On the move again, and so time to head back to my carriage to enjoy the scenery as we cruise towards Bournemouth, where we will arrive by 1:30 p.m. The ride was then broken up by another unusual feature, a roaming on-train magician.
There you go. And I was going to show you a very old trick. This is the oldest trick still being performed. It's based on a gambling game, or more accurately, gambling pong. You'll see the ball at fingertips goes into the pocket and the hand comes out empty. So you saw the ball in the pocket, you were convinced it's in the pocket, you would bet good money that ball were in the pocket, but sir, ladies, where's the ball? In the cup, it's in the pocket.
So now we're here in Bournemouth. This is the train. It's going to head off, I guess, and do whatever it does, reset, and then we're going to be meeting the train back here at 5:30 on the other platform to head back to London and have a rather nice dinner. It's a little bit noisy, but the train has just come in to Bournemouth. We've had our time in Bournemouth, and we're about to now head back on the train. What did we do in Bournemouth? We went and played like slot machines and won how many bars of chocolate?
5.
Won 5 bars of chocolate. Not bad for
other things.
Not for £40. Anyway, let's go. Stepping back on the train after those 4 hours in town, Mark and I swapped seats as he hates riding backwards. Maybe you do too. And we found a glass of champagne, a plate of smoked duck and spiced tuna canapes, and a pouch with a gift on our plates waiting for us. Mark got a keyring, me a magnet. Now the gifts are themed to the carriage, so we'd actually have to ride 6 more times in different carriages each time to get them all. We then got served this caviar and quail egg canapé, so very tasty. Included in the fare is a bottle of wine per couple for dinner with a choice of 2 whites, 2 reds and 2 rosé. We'd asked for the non-alcoholic wine, however. This was not a great success. Mark actually called it more like cooking vinegar. Cocktails and other drinks, by the way, including liqueurs or fancier wines, had to be paid for. They weren't in the fare, and there was a menu and prices for both. Soon it was time for the 4-course dinner. The starter was smoked mackerel, roulette. I'm not usually a fan, but even Mark really enjoyed this a lot. It was really, really tasty. The main was a duo of lamb with celeriac, fondant potato, asparagus, sugar snaps, carrot puree, and of course, gravy and mint sauce. This was really tasty. Dessert for me was a white chocolate and raspberry mousse. The Mark had a dairy-free lemon tart. Then along came one of their signatures, the vast cheese board tray, which was rather grand.
Walnut brie, we have Alpine style cheese, Cheshire cheese, Gas Avenue, and we have Pembrokeshire Gold.
It's cherry, please.
Cherry. And a couple of oat biscuits.
Yes, please. And a bit of chocolate.
I'm not usually a big cheese eater, but took a slice of everything and loved it. We were then, by the way, also given 2 homemade chocolates in a box to take home. So we're steaming now towards Victoria at the end of our quite an amazing trip. It really is crazy expensive, but it also is really something very special. You can see why people come and do this for special occasions. But just how much did it cost? It was eye-watering. We could have done a 3-night mini break cruise in an ocean view cabin on MSC Virtuosa out of Southampton at the same time for just £10 per each of us more. The day trip on the train cost £440 per person. That 3-night cruise to Rotterdam and back was £450 per person. This, though, is a trip I will treasure forever. It was incredible, and I way preferred that Mark use some of his bonus on this treat for me. So here we are at Victoria, 12 hours after we left. We were piling off the train, and a really good fun day. So time to head home.